I said I complained about something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you complain about this. Someone's clearly not a father." And I was like, "Yeah," because I looked up how to do it. Sounds disgusting.
Brunch, hit it, boys.
Always learning about ourselves, always learning about our bodies, always learning about each other's bodies. I learned something new about your body recently, and I just want to talk about this because I want young listeners to be able to hear about everything. And if they have any questions about their growing bodies, that maybe this can kind of fill in some blanks. I did not know that you shave your chest.
Yep.
I did not know that any people in the world shave their chest other than maybe swimmers. And I feel like that's on me.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of feel like, so you shave your chest. I'm kind of afraid now I'm the only person who doesn't shave their chest.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen a person with a chest that is not full of hair?
So that means they shave it?
Yeah, unless like they are physically incapable of
Went right over my head.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's basically like the rest of my body where there is hair that grows there. It is very shitty hair. It's very patchy and does not look good.
Yeah.
So I shave it. Same as my face.
I have chest hair because I don't shave it. And it's kind of bad, but I feel like chest hair is maybe part of like a person's personality. Like I feel like it would be weird if I didn't have chest hair.
It definitely would be, especially because you have facial hair. It's a weird dynamic to have facial hair and not have chest hair.
That's true. Right. And then people will start asking questions about this guy shaves his chest.
For me, nobody asks questions because they just assume that I'm naturally hairless.
So that's what I honestly, I'm sure I've seen you topless before, and I never noticed either that you had hair or that you didn't have hair. And then you posted something on Instagram saying like your chest was bleeding.
Yep.
You're like messed up shaving my chest. And I checked in on you. I was like, "Yo, dog, that for real?" And you're like, "Yep." And then I thought about it. I was like, I bet so many people I know shave their chests.
Yeah, I would assume so. I don't think that it's that out of the ordinary.
Every now and then, I have a small little spot. This is gross. I have like a small little spot on one of my shoulders that gets some dark hairs. So I'll lop that off.
Yeah,
but generally,
that's me, but with my chest.
Right,
it's just a couple little spots that.
My chest hair, I don't want to describe it, but I mean, my chest hair sucks. But if I'm letting some of the buttons go, I feel it's important to tell the world,
have that burger meat.
You got a little hamburger meat showing. So I'm trying to think now. Like when Ryan, like I bet that Ryan Gosling doesn't shave I bet he shaves his chest, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I've for sure seen him let it go with a few buttons.
Yeah, you can do either. There's not an either and or situation.
But like, what are you showing off if you're unbuttoning a few things and you got no hair there?
If you have a chiseled chest, you got a little upper chest going on, got a little definition in there.
So it's got to be one or the other.
Yes.
You can't
Well, see, I don't even have the choice because my chest hair happens at like the bottom of my breast.
Oh,
so like it grows there, and then like it's very, very patchy and sporadic upwards. So like if I left a couple buttons undone, nobody would be impressed.
My chest
even if
hair,
I let it grow.
My chest hair looks like basically an X that goes that starts on my breasts and then goes up diagonally. It's like an X there, and then the top is filled in. So it looks like if I have a few buttons going, you're like, man, that guy really can just let it fly. That guy's got hair.
And it's real disappointing.
And then it's like what are they called? That
bait and switch?
No, like there was something that men used to wear. It was like a piece of fabric that made it look like you were wearing a dress shirt. And also there was like a turtleneck that they would put on. It was just a neck and then two pieces of fabric on either side, and you would wear stuff over it, and it looked like you had a turtleneck on underneath. That's kind of what my chest hair situation is.
Interesting.
It makes it look like I've got a bunch of chest hair, and then
deceptive.
And just the deceptive chest hair. We saw Midsommar, we had to see it. Randy said that it was good. Randy saw it multiple times. I ended up seeing it 1.5 times. We'll get to that, although we don't really need to. I think by now you should just know this is how I see movies.
Yes.
I missed the beginning, then I eventually go back and see it. What did you like it, Pete?
I really liked it, honestly. I it wasn't perfect. It was weird as hell. Not really my type of movie,
For sure.
but I liked it more than I expected to.
Randy, did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
You saw it
Randy.
twice.
I saw it 2 full times.
That's nuts. Did you this is billed as, I mean, it is, I guess, by definition a horror movie because it's scary and it makes you uncomfortable, but it's not huge jump scares and anything like that. My biggest issue with the categorization of it is every review or everything I read on it is it's a midsummer festival gone wrong.
I think it went pretty right.
It goes
Yeah.
exactly how they
I
planned.
think everything worked out according to plan.
I actually thought about it. Like, literally nothing went wrong. There wasn't one thing where, like, they almost get away or, like, they never even wanted to leave.
Yeah, the Swedish people's plan went to perfection. I guess you have to consider from whose perspective did it go wrong from? Because if you're the Swedish cult, ooh, baby, that thing went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're Pelle,
Yeah.
like everything was great. I think it's a different movie for The Village. It's a different movie for Danny, and it's a different movie for Christian, Josh, and Mark.
Well, it's not anything for those guys
That's
because
true.
they're gone.
Well, they had a different experience, right? So, like for those 3 guys, it was definitely a horror movie.
That's true. I wasn't. I thought it was going to be a lot more unpleasant. I read the Wikipedia summary before. I picked Randy's brain about it. I may have read a review or 2 before going in to see it. And I ended up, once I saw it, I was like, oh, shoot, this is actually a good movie, which Randy had said. I wish I hadn't done that, but I was just too big a fraidy cat. So basically, it is a movie where a girl who is going through some stuff and has the worst boyfriend ever follows her boyfriend, who is invited by his Swedish friend to Sweden to do what the Swedish friend calls a silly midsummer thing with a lot of pageantry.
Like
and
theater, he says. It's like
that's
theater.
right. And then they go to it and they find that it's a big human sacrifice thing. And they've got to sacrifice 9 people, 4 outsiders, 4 insiders. We'll talk about that later. And then a 9th person to be chosen by the May Queen. And spoilers, I guess, this girl who is kind of dragged along to this ends up being the May Queen and gets to choose who to sacrifice. So she kills her boyfriend in probably the most adorable way anybody has ever been killed. It's got a great cast. It's got Florence Pugh, who Pete and Randy, you'll have to tell me about her. Everyone fucking loves her.
I have no idea who that
her.
is.
Have you ever seen her before?
No.
Randy, who's Florence Pugh?
I don't think I've ever seen her before, but that's just because I missed that Fighting with My Family, the wrestling movie.
Oh, she was in that. Okay.
She's
Well,
like
that
the main
explains why we don't know her.
in that one. But apparently that's a really good film. So.
But we stan her though, right?
I'm definitely a Danny stan.
Right. People are stan like crazy. I've actually thought about for a while, we should do a thing called Randy, do we stan thee? When we ask Randy whether or not we stan somebody, the means, I looked it up, the means you. It doesn't mean this person.
Right.
But
So it's just always you're asking if you still stand me.
do we
And I get to tell you whether or not you stand me.
Randy, do we stand
It's
you?
basically asking Randy if he's been canceled yet.
Right.
Oh, great. I'm glad that I'm put in charge of this because thank God.
Yeah,
that
you're the
I'm
May,
put in
you're the
charge
May
of whether or
Queen.
not I'm canceled.
You're the May Queen of this show. Although thee and thou and ye and all those things, all of those mean you.
Yeah.
I tried to look it up. What is him or her? Every word in Old English just means you.
No, thou means someone else, right?
I think thou means you. I think it's a different way of saying you. They really wanted to make sure they had you covered. So it's got Florence Pugh. Everybody loves her. Jack Rayner, who we loved from Sing Street. Probably the most appropriately named Jack ever.
Is he? Wait, so he's the guy?
He's the older brother from Sing Street.
Is he
with
really?
a big ridiculous wig.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right. I thought that he looked like Seth Rogen in this movie, like a more
That's not good.
a more fit Seth Rogen.
He was definitely.
I like
very
that he
fit.
had like just a little bit of a kind of like a bro chub face.
Yes, and his collar was way too big.
His shirts were very weird.
Yes,
They were at times too long. They were at times too short. I couldn't tell if it was like those wide intentional collar things.
I think it was, but he doesn't have the bone structure or like the definition.
He doesn't have anything anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I thought I didn't recognize him from anything. I did recognize Chidi from The Good Place,
Of course.
Yeah, he's so good.
William Jackson Harper. And this is my favorite thing about the movie. And I learned this my second time watching it, my first and a half time watching it.
Okay.
Will Poulter,
Yep.
the kid from We're the Millers, is in it.
Mhm.
And in the credits, it says Midsommar, Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, William Jackson Harper, the kid who plays Pele, who's from one of those bands, and I forget what band it is. And then Will Poulter gets and Will Poulter.
Oh man.
What the hell?
Yeah, we just
They are
dishing those out like candy these
Exactly.
days.
It's like is an and free. We've had Randy explain ands to us, and it's basically we can't pay you that much, so we'll throw you this bone, right? It's a concession people give you, right?
Yeah, we'll give you the big ant. Have you guys seen Bandersnatch?
I have not.
No.
That's the Black Mirror one.
Will Poulter's got a pretty good and part in that one.
He gets an and on that.
I don't know if he got. I didn't actually look, but I feel like that he has the definition of an and part in Bandersnatch.
I haven't seen Big Little Lies yet this season. Does Meryl get an and?
She gets an and.
See, that is what an and
Yes,
should
yeah.
be.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, what has Will Poulter done to deserve an and? I like We're the Millers. It's a really great comedy.
Right, but it's like,
Whatever.
cool, you can play a kid who doesn't have sex, which is the only thing he plays because that is his character in this movie as well.
I don't believe that his character in The Revenant has sex either. So
Is he in The Revenant?
yes.
Okay, he's also in Detroit.
Yes. Yeah,
He's the cop who just
Is
kills
racist.
kids. Right, racist,
probably not having
just
sex.
going around killing black kids. When does he get like a good character? When is Will Poulter like, oh hell yes, this is going to reflect good. This is going to make me look good. People are going to hold me in high esteem after this.
I don't know, but it wasn't this one, that's for sure.
Randy, you had said the shots in this movie were incredible. I feel like that's what makes this movie good, other than the kind of Get Out aspect of it, where you can tell as you're watching it that it's telling you what's happening. You just don't totally get what's going on. But this was visually a very pleasing movie.
Yeah, I thought the cinematography was gorgeous. Yeah, just like, like I think the difference between like what's going on and visually what's being presented, which is just like this sort of horrible scenario, but presented in this very beautiful way. Such a cool thing.
Yeah.
I puts your mind off a little bit. Like there's like almost like a visual dissonance, right? Of just like
there's very much a juxtaposition of like
how it's presented
That's
to
a
you
word.
versus what you're watching.
And I also heard it referred to as like a basically like a reverse horror movie where it starts off with like the horrible thing and like in at nighttime and then goes into like the rest of the story. It happens during the day, and it seems like it's very, or at least for a time being, like a very light sort of like we're having a good time sort of thing.
I need to see it a second and a half time, but as Randy mentions that like it's not presented, it doesn't make you feel like you're watching a horror movie. The music, the only time I can remember that the music was dark and scary was when she is tripping and running towards that little shed. That's the only time. Otherwise, it's generally all like light flute music, and a lot of the soundtrack I think is provided by, or a lot of the score is provided by what they're playing there. So even though it's horrible things that are happening, it's all like very light and often fun.
I thought that
music.
I thought the cliff scene was a lot of like intense music.
Oh, okay. Was there?
I could be misremembering.
There is some intense music. The soundtrack, stream the soundtrack, and it'll give you sort of a better idea of like, oh my god, I was so into what was happening on screen that I wasn't really listening to the music during that scene. But there's some little darker tone stuff. But I really enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed. I think the first time you see like a sort of this line of children walking and this sort of ethereal song is playing, and then behind the children is the band playing the music.
Yeah. So we went down. We said that Danny has a very bad boyfriend. He has shitty friends. My big takeaway from this is Christian, the boyfriend, and the friends died, but in the context of this is how the cult views things, all of them were deserving and had to be sacrificed. But let's go down the characters and what they died for. Okay, so there's Josh, who is a student. He's a classmate of Christian's.
A nerd.
And he's just a nerd. Yeah. He's a really, really good student. So he takes pictures and he asks questions, and they're like, yo, that's enough for you to die.
But he did ask. He said, am I allowed to take pictures? And it was a very, very, very strong no. And he gets up in the middle of the night. I think it's the one night scene of the entire movie at the actual cult setting. He gets up in the middle of the night and takes pictures of the things that they said very much do not take pictures of these.
Right. Then there is Mark, who leaves us with a lot of ammunition. This is Will Poulter's character. He's just a loser. And they were like, yo, if we invite this guy, he's such a loser that something like he'll accidentally do something and he'll die because he was a loser. Wouldn't you know it? That's exactly what happens. He takes a piss outside and they're like, yo, this is sacred ground. That's a tree, blah, blah. And
he was literally pissing on their ancestors. If you'll remember the scene right before that,
yes,
they're dumping the ashes of the two people from the ceremony, like around that tree.
Yes.
And you'll notice like all the dirt around that tree is gray. So that's all the ashes of everyone in their like village that's ever died.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I feel like
he's literally
I'll be the team Mark then.
Yes, I feel like no, you don't want to be team Mark.
No, I'm saying when I just came to his defense, that'll be the closest I'll be going forward.
I feel like DJ missed a lot of like slight details.
No, I murdered you guys on detail after when we were texting about it. Because I had Wikipedia'd it before. I saw all of the things.
You're right.
And you're like, guys, there's all this stuff, and it's like, well, yeah, I noticed that the second time I was watching it, but I also didn't read the entire synopsis of the movie.
Oh man,
how many different things did you read?
I reading the Wikipedia page, knowing that. So I guess this will bring us to Christian. He dies because he was date raped, and they positioned it to look like he was cheating on his girlfriend. So she chooses to kill him. A lot of the date rape stuff, if you know it's coming, is
obvious.
Very, very obvious.
It was obvious. I didn't know that it was coming. It was all very, very obvious to me.
No, you faked though. You faked knowing it. You said that you knew about. The period blood.
I did know about the period blood. They literally show it.
Just randomly drinking it. Did they show that after though?
No, they show.
They
do it. They do a pan.
It's a love story.
Where it shows the story,
like the artwork. Yeah.
Okay,
it's very, very clear.
Okay.
That they're collecting period blood and then using it and pubes, and they're using it for something. I didn't know what they were using it for.
Okay, so you did know when you saw it. You were like, all right,
yeah, I was like, darker. That is darker. And
they do set up a lot of shots that, which is cool. Like, they really tell you exactly what's happening. There's a scene before they go on the trip where Danny and Christian are on a couch together, and there's a big painting above them, and it's a bear and a little girl in a crown, just like right in the bear's face. And the bear is what they use to kill Christian.
And I saw some additional information about that. It was painted by a Swedish guy.
Ooh.
And the name of the painting is Poor Little Bear.
Really?
Translated in Swedish. So, Poor Little Bear. Oops. Sorry, Christian.
Yep. Poor Little Bear. That's great.
Yeah. I think like on the topic of like, did they deserve it?
Well, I'm going to quickly get to the other two. Okay. So there's Connie, a British student who is friends with Ingmar, who is Pelle's brother. And
just friend. It's not his brother.
Oh, I did realize this. They keep saying this is my brother, this is my whatever, and it's because they're in a cult.
Okay.
So
I did not know that.
I think that he is not related to Ingmar.
Mhm.
That's correct.
No. Pele's not related to any of them because if you'll recall, his family's dead.
Right. He said he said his parents died in a fire,
Yeah.
which brings me to a question about the actual festival, because they say that it happens every 90 years.
No,
But
I don't think his parents died as part of a ritual.
Okay.
What losers?
I mean, that would be cooler, but I was like thinking about that as well, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense unless he had like 130-year-old parents.
But they still do they say there's a May Queen for this 90-year ritual, but there's a wall of all the May Queens, and clearly it's a yearly thing. So do they just do a different ritual?
Yeah, they just
Every year?
they do the May Queen thing every year.
mean,
But
they
don't
leave
do,
the murder for every
full
90 years.
pageantry of like we're gonna sacrifice 9 people. So if you recall, they also do when you turn 72, like you die.
Right. So that probably that
So that happens. That's happening constantly. Obviously, every time someone turns 72, I guess, or every time 2 people, I guess they wait until like the second person turns 72 or something. I think it's like a 2-person ritual.
As does the like the rape is that seemingly has to happen more than every 90 years.
I am also going to go out on a limb here and say we don't know that it's rape.
True.
Which one? Like the
Christian.
one on drugs? Okay.
Christian.
So Christian like meets with like the elder queen,
Mhm.
right? And she's like, "Yo, she's about it. Are you about it?" And then they just cut away, and
Yeah.
he never you never see like his response of like, "Are you down for this?" So I'm pretty sure that he was like, "Yeah, I'm about it."
That's true. I mean, I was very hesitant there to use that word for it because it is entirely
But-
possible that he was just doing
But
it.
even if he did have like interest or he didn't explicitly say no, they still drugged him and then had sex with him.
Right. Which
So-
I mean, they like gave him some mushrooms, and then they were like, "Do you want to go in there?" Nobody like, I mean, until like he was like halfway through, nobody was actually like pushing.
which does bring I get it, pushing. Which does bring me to what was I going to say? The point of that Christian might be the dumbest. It's hard to figure out who the dumbest character is in this. There is one of 3
Mark.
possibilities.
Has to be Mark.
Mark.
Well, Mark is like almost too dumb to be alive. So I mean, he died, or they chose him because he was dumb. So maybe
Right.
that's
So
true.
so of the friend group, like is it Pell?
Yeah, Pele.
Pele.
Of the friend group, I could only imagine that there was like one of them where he was like, "Oh, he's for sure he's going to be one of the 9." Like because I could see Josh surviving and being smart enough to survive.
Mhm.
Christian is not stupid enough to like be a sure thing, especially when he's Danny's boyfriend. But I do
agree.
think that Mark was always going to die.
I mean, on their grounds, you could argue that Christian was the best behaved. Like he was a shitty boyfriend to Danny, and he forgot her birthday and everything. But what does that matter to these people? They don't.
Right.
They don't know that. I mean, he showed up
He
to
didn't
everything.
even like bring a present on the trip with
I
him.
know.
Oh, he's
Like,
the worst.
She was talking about our fucking birthday. Like when they were
Right.
like meeting up, like
And, like,
they're
this is-
you're gonna come to the trip, and she's like, "Yeah, actually, my birthday is gonna
Right.
be the day that we get there." I'm
And
like,
it's like this.
"Yo, bro, pack a gift."
This girl's entire family died 6 months ago. You think that the boyfriend would be like, let's look for a reason where I could do something to make her happy. Oops, forgot her birthday.
Right. So that's the big thing with him, is that like he is an unfathomably bad boyfriend. Like the reason everyone goes on this trip is Josh goes because for his studies. He's a very ambitious student. Mark goes because he's a loser. Like maybe he'll be less of a loser in Sweden. He seems to think he's going to have sex there.
Right.
Yeah, he was there for the sex and the drugs. I think
Right.
I think a big selling point for Pele too, probably to these guys, was like, also we are high the whole time.
Right. Christian goes solely because he will do whatever it takes to be the worst boyfriend to someone whose entire family just died. He is like, as far like on American grounds, Christian, definitely the worst of them. Like, you can put up
Yeah.
with a dummy like Mark, like whatever, just choose to not hang out with him.
Yeah.
But Christian's
entire reasoning for going on the trip was to get away from his grieving girlfriend.
He's basically trying to force her to dump him, right?
It seems that way. Like, it seems like he was about to break up with her or on the verge of breaking up with her, and then her entire family dies, and he's like, fuck, I can't really dump her.
I felt so sad. Obviously, you feel sad for Danny in the first 15 minutes because she loses her entire family. But in addition to losing her family, before she even knows that they're dead, she's on the phone with one of her friends talking about how she's being a burden to her boyfriend by saying, hey, my sister just sent me this really cryptic email and I think she's going to do something horrible. And he's like, yo, you got to stop giving her attention. Like, this is basically saying this is on you, saying whatever he can to get off the phone with her. And she like feels bad about it. Like, what an awful relationship, really, for both of them. He's obviously the bigger douche, so you kind of root for her. But man, how is that relationship still going on?
Yeah, I thought the opening 15, 20 minutes, the prologue, as Randy called it, was like spectacularly well done.
Yes, when they shows the dead parents and you think that they're not dead.
I was wondering if they were dead.
They're actually breathing at that point.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
Yeah, man. I even took a note of that. Yeah, you're right. So maybe it's before, or maybe it's as it's happening.
Oh, I think it's as it's happening. I think they've gone to bed and she's like slipped the hose like under the door or whatever.
I mean, just that is a brutal scene.
It is.
Like,
it's awful.
They basically show backwards how everything happened. Like they show them they're breathing, as Randy said, and then you see the door and there's duct tape. Oh no, you see them first turning off the car.
So the firemen are turning off the car.
Yeah, and they go into the house and you see that she sent hoses to her parents' bedroom and into her mouth.
That is just
duct tape.
Streamlined it.
A garden hose like inside her mouth, and with the vomit and everything. Oh my god, so disgusting.
So much.
Right. I mean, so that was what I missed. I missed literally probably 10 or 11 minutes the first time I saw it, and you guys were like, yo, you're missing an important thing. But since I'd read it, I was like, yo, I'm just missing that her family.
Well, Pete said you're missing the important thing. I said go see it because I want to see your perspective on the movie where it just starts.
If I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, God, that Danny girl is so clingy.
Right, she's obsessed with her family. God, just go home and visit them if you like them so much. No, yeah, having it was important to see it though. Like, and I think the most important thing, as far as Danny's character and seeing that, is how she reacts when her family dies, because she wails like there's just something about wailing in this movie where if you're in pain, you don't cry, you don't scream, you just really wail, and it's like a siren. And in this village, they all join in doing that, which is weird.
Yeah.
But
you know, like, she is alone through this whole experience. Like, even when he's there, she's just like has her head on his lap, and he's like, he wants to be somewhere else, and she's just crying, wailing in his lap, and like he's just like whatever. I think that, like, you know, we don't see some of this, like, as you know, as the time goes on between like the event and like the trip to the festival, but like she doesn't cry in front of people.
yeah, true. She just like runs off into bathrooms.
She runs away and cries alone in bathrooms. And it's like, okay, so she doesn't feel like welcome to like share her grief with anyone.
And you know what? So now that you say that, the first time that she does it is with the commune, which it probably wasn't of her choosing because they were kind of following her around because she was May Queen. But that's right. The first time she's really crying with somebody is after she sees Christian with the old woman and the girl, and she's wailing in that room, and they're all kind of giving it back to her.
Yeah, and
they're doing it. They're doing it with her, which is like a thing that their village obviously does. Like we see it in the ritual, right?
Yeah, I thought that was
like when the old guy from Love
falls
off,
right?
And
I thought that was the most important, like symbolic, and like basically that scene gave me what I needed to know about that movie, was that like those people are sharing the trauma and sharing the grief so that that person doesn't have to deal with it on their own. And that explains how like Danny would get wrapped up into the cult thing and be like consumed by it, because it's the only place where she feels like she has other people supporting her.
Where it feels like home, right? It's like Pele says to her, like, does Christian make you feel held? Does he feel like home to you?
Right. And I wonder what Pele knew. I know that there's some theories that he was somehow in on the family's death, that it was like his idea all along. He was hoping that somehow Danny would end up coming, because it did end up being kind of, I don't think that he killed her family, but it did end up very, very convenient for Pell and the commune that Danny ended up going, because she ends up getting the Maid Queen. She ends up killing Christian. She ends up, like, when we talk about how everything worked out perfectly for the commune, Danny going was like probably the biggest part.
Yeah, it was great. I think great for her, great for them. Not so great for Christian, but yeah, I don't think Pele had anything to do with like her parents' death, but I think that I think he's like totally honest the whole time.
I was going to ask that, like, how much does he ever really lie? Obviously, there's a lot of lies of omission,
right?
But he doesn't say overtly, like, "Hey, it's okay, it'll be safe." He says to them straight up. He says, I forget what the term is, "atestupa." He says, "We're going to be doing this." Josh says, "Are you actually doing this?" And he says, "Yes."
Right.
And then he says, "You'll see in the morning." He's not saying like.
And Danny goes, "Is it scary?"
Does he? And he doesn't respond, does he?
No. They don't answer her. They just sort of like Josh and Pele just kind of like look at each other like, you know something, you know now.
Which I understand Pele there, but Josh, dude, like, how do you go to sleep after that, knowing that you're in a place where they're sacrificing humans?
But I think that his big thing was his thesis, and he wanted to see it. And he wanted to see it play out. And if he said something that might have spoiled it and like prevented him from being a part of that.
True.
So I think that he didn't want to scare them off.
Yeah, in his mind, he's like, "Oh shit, Pel's showing us this really cool thing."
Yeah, and I do think that Pele is genuine when he tells her that, like, "I really want you to come, and I think that you would benefit from this."
Totally. He straight up, like, he thinks that that's going to help his people, but as Randy said, it's going to help everybody. Like,
right, because he said he's been there.
Right.
Like, because he's an orphan.
Yeah. He was alone, and he found this family.
Speaking of family and embraces, this is a very big movie for hugging while holding the back of somebody's head. Is that a European thing? Is that a cult thing? Or what is that? Did you notice the way they hugged?
No.
When they go up to people, they hug each other and they grab the back of their head. It's basically like they're making out with them, except without kissing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe you have to read the Wikipedia page to have picked up on it. But it was the first thing I noticed. The way he held Ingmar when they ran to each other, I was like, wow, those guys love each other. And then he saw the old guy, and they hugged that way too. And I was like, all right, so this isn't anything special. This is just how
that old guy was a real dick. I'll say that. That old guy was definitely like the like, you should definitely know something bad is happening, because the way that he approached Connie and Simon, like, he was like, "Oh yeah, your boyfriend ditched you, or your fiance ditched you, and well, just wait for the next ride."
It's wild how passive they were when they realized that they were dropping off one by one.
Yeah,
that okay, Simon's gone. He would never leave his fiance, but he did. Okay, whatever.
They didn't give a shit when Mark disappeared.
Oh no. Right. And when he disappears, a girl lures him away and she's like, "Hey, I'm a girl that's talking to you. Come with me." And he goes and he leaves. And they're all like, "Oh, I bet he'll be gone a while." I'm like, well, since when? Why do you think this guy's going to go have sex a bunch?
Yeah. And like have sex for a long time. It's like, Mark just went to have sex. He's not back within 15 seconds. What's going on here?
Right.
Maybe they know something about Mark.
Yeah, maybe Mark is maybe Mark's got something up his sleeve.
He doesn't have a refractory period. Thanks for hims.com.
Oh, there you go. Wanna go ahead and deliver the goods?
Why don't you finish it off? Why don't you give us a little taste? Why don't you let's have the whole meal?
Guys, I've heard you talking about Hims and how they're helping guys look their best.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for us to see what it's all about. Here's the problem, guys. I don't know if you know this. 66% of men start to lose their hair by age 35. And here's something. Once you've noticed thinning, look out.
Is it too late?
It's too late.
God.
It's too late. Maybe you've noticed your hairline slowly starting to move backwards. Any bald spots yet? Who knows? You can't see behind you.
Only looking forward.
Yeah, you can only look forward. That's the problem with the human eyeball, is that it can only look. It's pretty limited in where it can look, and you can never see like the back top of your head. So you could be balding and you don't even know it.
But I think that's because
God
knew that you should always look forward. Don't look behind. What's behind is behind you.
But God is potentially up in heaven making fun of you with all your loved ones.
Because he can see the top of your head.
He can see your bald spot.
Right.
He's the all-seeing being. Like, look at that gross bald spot.
Yeah, God thinks you're gross, but we think you're cool.
Right.
We think
we think you're beautiful just the way you are.
Yeah, whatever you want to do with your hair is fine. But if you want to prevent hair loss, the best way to do that is to do something about it while you still got some hair left on your head. It's time to get a handle on those precious locks. I ask you guys this question. Do you want a bald spot to pop up?
No.
No, not for me. No.
Do you want your hairline to recede?
Absolutely not.
Do you want to do something about it first?
Well, I don't really want to do anything about it, but if somebody else could do something for me, that would be great.
Maybe if in our sleep we could bring the doctor to us.
Yes.
Have you guys heard about these people? They try all sorts of weird solutions.
Like what?
They'll like go outside and they'll rub like plants on their head.
Ooh, they go to a gas station for it?
Yeah.
They'll go to a gas station and they'll buy some weird product from a guy on the corner and he promises that it's going to do something. And guess what, guys?
Does that guy have snake oil?
It was just his snake oil in a jar.
Hey, Randy, when is a door not a door?
I don't know, DJ. When's a door not a door?
When it's a jar.
When it's a jar of snake oil. So yeah, don't turn to weird solutions. Don't buy that guy's snake oil. If that guy had a legitimate business, he would be advertising on Brunch. He would not be trying to sell you stuff at the gas station.
Ooh, that would be a real problematic thing for us, is if somebody wanted to sell their snake oil on this podcast.
No, that's
no. You guys don't sell snake oil. You help legitimate progress
products.
Yeah,
we're the anti-snake oil brigade here.
Yeah, you guys hate snake oil. I've heard you guys talk about it. Like, we're all friends in real life.
Let's make new merch. It just says snake oil with a line through it.
Yeah,
the number one anti-snake oil podcast in the world.
Body by no snake oil.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, don't take snake oil and don't do nothing. You got to do something.
Yo, no snake oil. Actually, that sounds like a good brand name.
Hell yeah!
It's like, oh, it's that new T-shirt from No Snake Oil. It's $400.
It sounds like a good band name.
No Snake Oil.
Yeah,
not bad.
You know what I should do?
I
think you guys. What I want to do, what I think you guys should do, is when you come into a man problem, you turn to medicine. You turn to science. Let the doctors be in charge. And that's where my good friends and my colleagues and a few of my family members come into play. forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and guess what? Sexual wellness.
Hell yeah.
Got bone problems?
Oh, God.
For Hims. Balding is not a necessity, guys. It's not an inevitability. It's optional. Hims is helping guys be the best versions of themselves with licensed physicians, not people at gas stations, and FDA-approved products, not weird snake oil, and they help you treat your hair loss. Their prescription solutions are backed by science. Hims was created by some dude. But you know what? He knows some men's health conversations are easier online than in person. You don't want to go to your doctor and be like, hey, doc, I got a brown problem. No, you want to do that on the internet. You want to go on the internet and tell some stranger that you have a bone problem. And he's like, I'm a stranger, but I'm also a doctor. Dr. Stranger. No more awkward in-person doctor's visits or long pharmacy lines. No way. You connect to the doctors online, saves you hours, completely confidential and discreet. They never even have to see your face. Answer a few quick questions. Or your penis. Yeah, they don't need to know. You answer a few quick questions, like, what's your problem? Boom. The doctor's going to review it. And if he determines that it's right for you, he could prescribe medication to treat hair loss that is shipped directly to your door. It's the hair loss treatment everybody's talking about, guys. It's been featured in GQ, Men's Health, Esquire, Playboy, Brunch, all of these things. All of these things. This section is mandatory.
That's the part you have to read. Definitely read that sentence.
This is a call to action, guys.
Motivate him, bro. Motivate him.
I am telling you guys right now. This is what you have to do, and you have to do it right now. Pause the podcast. Get online.
But wait until you get the instructions.
Get online right now. You can get started with the Hims Complete Hair Kit for just $5. What are you waiting for? Why are you even still listening to this when you could be online spending only $5?
It's only $5. Come on. It's $5. What is it? $5. It's half a banana.
And you got to do it.
$5. Right, what could it cost? $10?
Yeah.
It only costs $5. You got to do it right now, guys, because limited supplies. While supplies last, this deal works, man. But once the supplies are gone, guess what? They don't have the stuff anymore.
You don't want to be the asshole among your friends who didn't get the supplies.
No, you could have.
They ran out.
The supplies. Go to the website. Check it out. It's got all the information you need. It's got full details. It's got safety information. It could cost you hundreds.
Or it could cost you only $5.
That's you. The choice is yours.
Choice is yours.
Live or die.
That's right. You got a choice. You could spend hundreds of dollars if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy somewhere else, or you could spend $5. Go to hims.com. Here's the most important part. /brunch.
Boom.
Got to get that brunch money coming in.
Yes, that's Randy.
Forhims.com /brunch. Forhims.com/brunch.
Brava.
Great job.
Hey, Randy, what does brava mean?
Good job.
Okay. What if we see what does a physician feel like when he's like filling up his tank at the gas station? He's like, I better take off my coat and stuff. People see me, they're gonna get the wrong. If they see me hanging around a gas station, they're gonna get the wrong idea. I am a reputable physician. Yeah. If they see me around here, they're gonna be like, fuck you. Go!
I got it for Hims.
Go hawk your gas station supplements someplace else, buddy.
I'm just filling up my tank.
Yo, that was a very good read.
That was very good.
Only have one thing to edit out. Great stuff. Let's
Pete, literally what I do for a living, guys.
Hell yes. Yeah, I know. We should just have you do our reads from now on. Pete suggested we run down the shitty things that Christian does as a boyfriend. Took me like 3 seconds to come up with 80.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm interested. I mean, I have obviously forgot the birthday present. Mm-hmm. Didn't tell her about Sweden, that he was going.
Jerk.
I think that was the most like egregious thing that he did the entire movie.
Let's clarify. We don't stan not Christian. Randy, do we stand thee? No,
absolutely not. No, Christian is if you stand Christian, GTFO.
Yes.
Oh, you can't hang out with us.
You can't hang if you stand Christian.
Yeah, didn't tell her that he was like officially going to Sweden until like 2 weeks before the trip.
Basically forcing her to not be able to, as she said, sorry sounds like too bad.
Yes. And then
she ends up, but she apologizes to him.
Poor, I just want to give her such a Swedish hug, hold the back of her head and say, you are a strong person. Don't put up with this asshole.
But I thought that was done. I thought like that entire scene was done so well with like just showing how
the
you can be
of the
manipulated.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so I thought that was great.
That's like textbook gaslighting.
Oh yeah.
Where he's like, why are you being so weird? I told you it was a possibility that I would go, and then also I never told you that I was going, and that I had already bought my plane tickets, and that this is like set in stone at this point. But you're acting crazy.
Yeah, why are you being so emotional? Like your parents just died less than 6 months ago.
Ari Aster, is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
He sets it up so well that just between what goes on with her, the limited glimpse that we have of Christian, and what we think, we start off kind of on the wrong foot with Christian, I think it's safe to say. So everything goes to hell with her family. We know that Christian's not the best guy. And then you have that scene, just knowing what she's going through. I feel like everyone in the theater is doing that thing where they're like, their hands are out and you just wave them.
Fanning yourself, basically.
Where you're just like, oh my God, this guy is get out of this relationship.
There is no solid ground for Christian to stand on at the beginning of the movie. Like never find out how that even happened, that relationship.
How he became such, like how they got to that place and how he got to that place.
But in addition to that, I have like the mushroom scene where she was like, I can't do this. And he was like, I was surprised when he was like, hey, maybe we all shouldn't do the mushrooms right now.
But he only does that when he's pushing back against Mark. I wrote that down as one of mine. He phrases it as, so they're all going to take mushrooms, and Danny says, I'm not comfortable doing this. I want to find my footing first. So he turns to the group and he says, hey, everybody, I'm going to wait for Danny. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to wait, he with like 4 words, he puts it all on her of like, hey guys, in case you're suspecting whether or not she's a wet blanket, yeah, she is. And now she's bringing me down. And he only pushes back once Mark starts pushing back. Cause he says to her, he was like, don't let that fucking loser be the reason you do anything you don't want to do. So the only thing that we learned there is that he holds Mark in lower esteem than he holds Danny. But other than that, he doesn't give one hoot about her. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Then obviously the cheating. I mean, whether he was on drugs or not, still showed interest. As far as we know, didn't explicitly say no, that he wasn't interested in that other woman.
I think it is. I think it's tough. I am absolutely not taking his side. I think it's very tough to, because he walks in there, he looks around, he sees all the women, he's not blinking. He has. It's
tough to make like a solid determination there.
Right.
I mean, he was definitely checking that girl out the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
like as soon as she like picked him.
Right. He wants to join in the group.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's basically what I got for my list. I'm sure that I'm missing some other things.
No, you got all the big ones. I wrote down was friends with Mark. What a loser.
That doesn't directly like affect. I'm talking about his relationship with Danny.
Well, she has to meet Mark as a result of him being friends with Mark. What a bad boyfriend. Committed to leave her for a month and a half after her family died. The I'm going to wait for Danny thing. Ate pizza with Mark in the beginning. Discussed his sex life with his friends in a way that besmirched his lady. I didn't like that at all.
Like, you never see him do it, but Mark says the thing, right? Like, you could be dating a girl who would have sex with you.
Right. He says, why don't you, you could
be
who enjoys sex.
Who enjoys sex, yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man.
Like, hey, if you're, it's sort of if you remember that guy on Twitter like a couple months back who was like, excuse me, I've had sex with plenty of women, and I've never met a woman who enjoys sex. And everybody was like, I don't think that's a girl's problem.
That's a problem. Sure, you know what? He needs to go to fourhems.com.
You're right.
I'm pretty sure. Are you positive that's something a real person said and not something that I said in response to someone trying to make fun of me?
That was a real thing that happened on Twitter. And it was like the one time in the world that all of Twitter has gotten together and just like been on the same team. And they're like, that is fucking hilarious.
I've realized whenever most of my responses to people who try to dunk on me are me just like finishing the dunk for them. Somebody a while back was like, I said I complained about something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you complain about this. Someone's clearly not a father." And I was like, "Yeah," because I looked up how to do it. Sounds disgusting. Boom, nailed it, you loser.
Yeah. So I think that if I was looking at those two people and I was like, this couple is not having enjoyable sex, I do not think that I would point at Danny.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
My big thing with that, though, it's one thing to discuss the intimate goings on of your relationship. Maybe you do that with your closest friends and people that you can trust. And I don't know, if you're having a problem where like, hey, like we're not having a lot of sex or something like that, maybe you disclose that to your closest friends. But to Mark?
No, you
How are you
never
gonna
say
tell
that shit to
Mark
Mark.
that?
You never say that shit to Mark because you know what Mark's going to do? He's going to bring it up in public in front of all your friends.
And I mean, somebody who's making comments about your sex life, who's traveling to Sweden for the opportunity to have sex.
For maybe there's a chance I can have sex there.
You know who Mark is? Mark's the guy from Love Actually.
I thought about
who
that.
needs to travel to America for the possibility of sex.
Except that guy goes to America and immediately cleans
orgy.
up with.
Mark immediately gets to a foreign country and dies.
He has an orgy with January Jones, right?
Yes.
Is Alicia Cuthbert one of them?
I think she's one of them. Yeah, it was just
like three It girls with Shannon Elizabeth there.
Big three.
It was, man, good for that guy. Bad for Mark. I do wonder, did Mark or Josh? I mean, Josh, you saw how he was knocked out. But do you think that they felt any pain when they were killed? Do you think that they were killed in like humane ways?
I think Josh was feeling some pain because they cracked his freaking head open and he was like on the ground going.
He was having a seizure. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He seizes after.
Yeah.
Man, I must have been. You know what? I did look away a lot at times that I thought it'd be bad. Like I didn't. I think I saw when the woman elder hit the rock.
Yeah.
And then once the old guy from Love and from Freaks and Geeks, the principal, hurts his leg when he hits the rock. By the way, that guy sucks at killing
just
himself.
a terrible jump.
That is
awful form.
I think that's part of the ritual.
Really?
Because he doesn't. I don't think he has a rock underneath him. I think she has the rock, right? And I think that's what happens is the woman jumps like face first and the guy jumps feet first because they had that big hammer like at the ready.
Waiting, yeah. I was just wondering if they were like, hey, just in case somebody messes up. And
that could totally be a part of it too. But like I was like, God, it seems so purposeful that he was like, I'm gonna jump.
Yeah, pencil dive.
Well, you know what? Far be it from us to assume that these people would be trying to avoid pain in their deaths. Because looping back to the dumbest people discussion, I think the Christian is high up there because after he saw all of his friends disappear, they went up to him and they were like, yo, want to take these drugs? And he was like, I'd better not. All my friends are disappearing. And they were like, don't be a little bitch. Take it. And he did. And then that was like the rest of his life. Then
I love that girl though. The girl that gives him the drugs.
Is that also the girl who lures away Mark?
No.
Okay.
No, this is another girl. Like she does a couple of different things. Mostly revolving around Christian, where like she gives it. She's first off high as fuck. And she like is stumbling over and she basically like falls in front of him and she's got the cup and she's like, drink this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fun. Yeah, she's just like wandering around the campus, just like falling all over herself and handing out drugs.
And just like giggling and like having the best time of her life.
Yeah. There's always that one girl in the Swedish Midsommar tradition who is just walking around with a cup of drugs.
Fucking
that classic stereotype.
Yeah, and when they're on drugs.
Yeah, she also like once he's had like the paralytic or whatever, she's like, "Oh, you can't move. You just have to sit here. Yeah, it's fine."
That weirded me out. That weirded me out when they've got him essentially paralyzed sitting there. That was some. I'll tell you, I didn't like Christian. I liked Jack Rayner. Very good performance from him. I don't know if it's that difficult to. act that distant, but like his scenes with Danny where he clearly needs to be there for her and he's not, as you said, Randy, his mind is just somewhere else. I thought he was great. That scene on the couch where she's wailing and he's just not looking at her. But like as they are preparing him, as they're stuffing him into the bear, while he is totally conscious, it looks adorable in the end. But I don't know. I thought that he was.
Yeah, I think that he did like a good job of sort of portraying that like that the lights are on but nobody's home,
right?
Or like
exactly.
And so I kind of felt bad for him in that situation because that's the most horrible thing, to like be there mentally but not be able to do anything about it physically.
Right. It's the old Johnny got his gun thing.
And so I loved the drug effect when they're on like the mushrooms and stuff, and they have like these close-ups on their faces and you just sort of see it like slowly morph, and it's subtle enough to make you sort of question whether you're going crazy if they're actually doing that.
That's a great way of describing it. They really
I love Danny's
don't overdo
flower,
it.
like the flower on her crown that's like breathing.
Yes,
insane.
It's great.
It's very, very
and then
cool.
there's that when she first takes the mushrooms like out in the field and she's talking to Ingmar. He's like, do you want to come talk to me and my friends? And like one corner of his mouth just like bends up like this.
Oh, it's so creepy. Like
in this like super weird smile, but just like on half of his face, and it's like he's being like sort of fish hooked. And it's so creepy, but it's also like so like kind of like off in the corner, like you don't really, because she's kind of like turning away as it's happening, because I think she's like, I don't want to look at your face because it's doing weird shit.
Ingmar is also a candidate for dumbest person at this whole thing. So as I said, they kill they sacrifice 4 outsiders, 4 people within the commune, and then kind of wild card, and they match the 4 and 4. So they kill Connie, Simon, Mark, obviously, and Josh. And then for their side, they sacrifice the 2 elders who are already dead. They've already killed themselves, as are all those people. They've already died. And they take 2 volunteers to sit in the temple as it burns with all the other bodies. What kind of... And Ingmar is one of them, and then some other guy is one of them. How could you be that dumb? It's one thing to be in that cult and know that eventually your time is going to come, but you just hope that it's going to be... not from sitting there being burned alive. Why would you choose that?
Well, I think they was like Ingmar wanting to be like a martyr, or just like going out in a way for the cause, I guess.
Not that.
I think that when the queen is talking, when she's trying to convince the British couple to stay, she's like, it's a great honor for them,
right?
Like for the old couple that do their sacrifice thing. So I think it's like seen as like a great honor to be, especially on like the ninth, like the huge
anniversary.
It only takes place every 90 years. I think it's a huge honor for them. I have questions about that scene though too in the fire. Is that they give each of the guys a little something in their like mouths, and like for one they say it's for the pain, and for one they say it's for the fear.
Right.
But for the guy that, and I think it's Ingmar, who's supposed to not feel any pain. No, it's not. It's the other guy.
The other guy's supposed to not feel pain, and he ends up screaming.
And he's like screaming, and I'm like, well, he's definitely feeling pain. But then Ingmar, who they said like, no, you'll have no fear or whatever, like we don't really see his reaction.
I just thought the dynamic of like those people having to die together was weird, because some of them it's like an honor, and then the other ones like they're being punished because they did horrible things.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so like I think the point of the festival or whatever is to get rid of all the bad juju in town.
Right.
And to sort of rid their village of any like negative elements. So I think bringing in the outsiders, and we're like, like this is like, I think they're representative of like the outside forces that sort of that they don't want in their town, right? Like we don't want this like disrespect. We don't want this just sort of like the dumbness of like society to like infest our village. So I think think there's something about like having like the two sides, right? Having the strangers and having the people of the village to go like, we're all coming together. We'll definitely bring these guys in because they represent all this bad stuff, but then we also want to like give a piece of ourselves.
I wonder also if that's why they dress up the bad people, the outsiders, I guess. Like they dress up those people as like these sacrificial animal type things.
Yeah, some of them play parts, right? So like early in the film, like the children are playing, and like one of the people is like, what are they playing or whatever? And I think Pale's like
Skin the Fool.
Oh, they're playing Skin the Fool. And then of course Mark is the fool.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been skinned. And they have a jester's cap on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark really does not. Mark, it's never good for Mark in this movie.
Well, I saw that Ari Aster said that like this is supposed to be like the structure of a fairy tale, like a really dark fairy tale where like Danny is the princess in distress, and like that's represented by the May Queen and like the crown that she ends up wearing, and obviously like the distress comes from, it's pretty obvious. Then like Christian is the idiotic fucking like prince who like clearly
forgets her birthday.
Yeah, who is just like very, very clueless. Josh is the scholar and sort of like the wise man, and Mark is obviously the jester, and then Pele is like basically like the elder. And so I thought that was really interesting.
Or maybe Pele's like Prince Charming, and Christian is the bear. So Christian's like like brute force or whatever.
He
just
slays
like
the bear.
I mean,
he's like a brute. And Pele rescues her from all of this negativity.
Yeah, I was going to say they really do lay down a lot of groundwork for. I mean, you mentioned does Christian feel like home to you? They do lay a lot of groundwork for Pele, and really this entire commune can kind of provide all the things that Danny needs, and that he solves a lot of her problems. Like Christian is not there for her emotionally, and Pele is constantly, and I think genuinely, checking in on her and seeing how she's doing. Like the way that he definitely plays those other guys, but it doesn't seem like he's necessarily playing her. And I think that if she were to have to be sacrificed or she were to have to die, I think that he probably would actually be upset with that. Whereas he did not mind losing those other bozos at all.
I think that he definitely knew that she was going to be perfect and would fit in and find the family there. I do want to talk about the because you mentioned the fairy tale thing. The first thing you see and hear in the film is almost like a Once Upon a Time, like like kind of a like it's just like a short, almost like 10 or 15 second, like you're about to experience a world of wonder, and then you've got that plate, right? The opening title sort of plate, which is just a painting of the events of the film, but presented in almost a storybook aspect.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool. Do we have any criticisms?
Well, I have a question. Why does everyone say that this movie was funny?
There were people in my theater that were laughing, especially during the big insemination ceremony.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did have laughs in my theater, and I guess like if like you can laugh at the absurdity of it, especially, well, I mean, like Ari Aster just loves blowing people's faces up. It's like in like the darkest way possible, because he does that in Hereditary 2, where it's just like the face just gets.
There's a Hereditary 2?
No, in Hereditary.
I was like, man, you got me considering seeing this shit. I'm not seeing two of them.
So he just loves the absurdity of violence, I guess.
He has said also that. I saw that in an interview. He said that like he's got something with head trauma for some reason.
Ew. Mark is a very funny character, like when they're in the field like tripping and he's like trying to like control everyone's trip.
That part was very funny. Yes. Where he's like, let's all lay down.
Everybody lay down.
God, just lay down. It feels so good. No, seriously, but lay down with me. Let's just lay down.
But I love it because it's like even on drugs, they would never listen to him.
Yeah, I didn't find it particularly funny, but there were also people who said that Get Out was really funny, and I think that it was classified as a comedy at one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
the Golden Globes, which has like a weird, if it's any genre, the Golden Globes puts it into like the comedy or musical. If it's not a drama, it goes into comedy or musical.
Is this like when they wouldn't classify Run the Jewels as rap at the Grammys?
Right.
They were like, look, you can have alternative rock or you can have nothing.
Weird.
Yeah, so I would not call it a comedy. Any complaints about the movie, though?
Complaints?
Or criticisms?
No, my big thing the first time seeing it was that I thought it was all very convenient that that they ended up quote unquote doing things to get themselves killed. But I talked to you guys about that in the text thread, and even on here, I think that was just an oversight on my part. Like they all did, at least according to the rules of there, do things to die. In reality, like, does pissing somewhere should Mark die for being a dumb loser? No. Should Christian die for being a shitty boyfriend? No. Should Josh die for like
taking a picture?
Even not that it compares because these were like life or death stakes, but I mean, like, even in journalism and stuff, when you're doing reporting, every now and then, if there's like a little corner you can cut to like find something out, you take it and then you figure out how to explain how you found it out later on, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah, just like what if you can have an off the record conversation that'll help or something, whatever. And that's what that's how I looked at what Josh was doing. Like he was breaking some of their rules he was taking pictures of stuff for his own purposes, but he was essentially only doing it so later on he could reference it, not necessarily use those pictures. It was just a very like light flubbing of their rules, and that ended up getting him killed. So I think that was my big thing, that like they, according to our world, they didn't deserve to die, but according to...
It was only a mild desecration of their holy scripture.
Yes.
Right. Does that mean that Danny is the worst person of the friend group? She's the only murderer.
We should interpret the ending. It's basically a horror movie version of The Graduate, where you see the expected result at the end, and it's up close on the facial expression. And then at the very end, the facial expression changes and the movie ends. In The Graduate, it's to show that they did all this stuff in haste. And then when they realized, wait a second, what are we doing here? Now real life sets in, then their facial expression changes. This is, she's seeing all this death and all these people around her keep dying, and she's just so distraught over it. And then it clicks in her head like, hey, well, now the relationship's over and I'm not with Christian anymore. Still very, very creepy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that she has a family again.
Yeah, right. Did you think that she stays in the commune?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the whole point of the thing, is like that they have a new like recruit for their cult. And it's so funny because I'm so on Danny's side the whole movie that I'm like happy for her at the end. And it's only like later, like I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, but cults are bad.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. No, I know. I don't support anything that these people are doing. If this was like a real life thing, I would be like, that's a bad cult. Don't get involved with them. But in the context of the film, I'm like, yeah, it's actually like this super happy ending.
It's just like I kind of get it. Like you understand about how these people get there, and you're like, I get it. Like I understand how this would happen to you, but that's why I asked, like, is she the worst person of the friend group? Because she's the only one that killed somebody.
I mean, on paper, she definitely is.
Right.
On paper, she is. Because even watching it, even being in that the world of the movie, I was like, yo, you can't just like kill Christian.
Right.
like Christian is a dick.
Christian is for sure a bad boyfriend and like a real asshole, but like
we
does
don't
not
him.
Deserve to die.
Can't go killing him, dude. Like you can't just kill him.
And I think that it's also like an interesting discussion of like obviously there's some fucked up things happening in this cult and stuff, but like also that's from our perspective, and there's certainly a culture within the cult in that society where like those things aren't fucked up. It's what they do.
Right.
And so I think there's a discussion to have about that too.
I have a question about what's Connie and Simon's part? Why are they friends with Ingmar? Ingmar doesn't seem cool at all.
Ingmar seems super cool.
No, he doesn't.
He was
such
super cool because Danny was having a bad
chill
time.
bro. He was a chill bro.
He seems
super
dopey.
chill. Like when Danny's having a bad time tripping, and she's like, "Oh, those guys are laughing at me." He's like, "No, they were laughing before. Everybody's having a good time. You feel supported. Come meet my friends." Like he was being really sweet.
Plus, the bar of being like a cool dude gets lowered significantly when you find out that cool dude is offering you like a trip to Sweden.
That's true.
It's like I'd be friends with that dude if he was like, "Hey, be a little bit friendly with me, and you can come with me to Sweden."
Yeah,
like,
come to me to this awesome festival. I'll give you bags of mushrooms.
Right.
That's actually, I don't blame them.
They are for sure the most unlucky people in this.
Connie
movie.
and Simon.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree.
They just wanted to leave.
Man,
Right, they figured it out and they were like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
I love
which
how
is
the elder
very
queen-
normal reaction.
So if he hadn't have sworn, if Simon didn't say like you guys are fucking crazy, you guys are sick, if they had just said respectfully we would like to leave, would that still? I see that's where I fall into they were going to kill all these people no matter what. I think that if we said,
you
there's
can't
absolutely
leave.
no way.
You can't
Right.
leave because I think they would be like, "No, if you leave, you're going to go tell somebody about what we're doing, and this is like a super secret."
Right. I
Right.
think it's the same thing with Josh kind of.
and that's
like,
where simply by going they were doomed. So
Right.
that's
well,
why.
I don't know. Connie may have ended up being the May Queen.
I think Josh got killed because he took photographic evidence of like what's happening there. So if he were to escape,
Right.
like he has literal evidence against what they're doing, and I think that's why that was immediately like you're fucking.
And
dead.
that's the biggest thing that makes this movie so creepy. There is never a plan or there's never a thing of how are they going to get out. They're all there choosing to be there and they drop off one by one, but we're basically watching this through the lens of Danny, and it's never really a thought in her mind. Like she's unhappy after the ceremony where the two elders kill themselves, but she's never thinking, okay, at this time this is where I make a run for it. And with other movies where Americans end up in a strange land and it's dangerous, whether it's like hostile, taken, whatever, it's all about, okay, how are they going to get out? How are they going to get saved? There's never really a sense that they're planning their exit strategy. And I think, know that it's all going to end there.
And I think that's like a cool part of this movie is like it's just as much like psychological warfare as it is like physical torture.
Totally. And that's why I was so afraid to see it, because we're like I asked Randy last week and he said it's a lot of, oh no, am I really watching this stuff? It's a lot of disturbing stuff. And I don't want any of that. I'll say that I asked if Josh and Mark felt pain. I'd forgotten that Josh seizes and isn't immediately knocked out. So he feels pain. Definitely the worst is Simon.
Oh, where he's like literally strung up like an eagle.
They keep him alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his lungs are like breathing.
Yeah.
That is so gross.
And I'm pretty sure they were they eating him?
Yeah, what's going on? He's above chickens?
I don't think they were eating him. I don't think that cannibalism is a part of the thing. But there is like weird shit when they're having like the final feast when they like try to feed her like the salted fish or whatever. There's like a weird sort of woman-shaped like mound of some kind of material that you don't really ever get a good look at because like you're seeing it through Danny's and Christian's eyes and everything's sort of like breathing and morphing. There's a shot from above and it looks sort of like a woman's torso. I know it's not a human body and it's just some sort of, I don't know, meat or something that they've like sculpted into like a sort of fertile symbol, I guess.
I would say the one thing that I like really didn't need in this movie was like the inbred whatever they call
the oracle.
The oracle, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that didn't serve any purpose.
Yeah, there's
I agree.
There's a little bit of some chatter online about like the eugenics aspect of the whole thing, because they do talk about bloodlines pretty significantly. They're like, oh, the reason people in Sweden are so beautiful is because this is where Vikings took like the beautiful women of the villages that they sacked.
Right. That was said directly in the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, by Mark, I believe. Right?
But I think that's his, like,
Mark
a joke,
asked,
right?
Oh yeah. No, it's not a joke. It's true. It's why like Norwegian people are so beautiful is because Vikings literally kidnapped the most like beautiful women from the villages that they sacked and brought them back to their homeland.
Yeah, I just thought that was like a very weird, like, hey, let's let's include a mentally disabled person and then just like do like close-ups on them and have it really serve not any purpose.
It doesn't like
doesn't move the plot forward at all.
No, but it is like it does sort of explain like how fucked up these people are. Is that they actively inbreed to get people with cognitive and or physical disabilities to become their like oracles.
Right.
Do we think that this movie is going to get any year-end love?
God, I don't think so. But God, I would hope that it did.
I could see for like cinematography or like costume design.
Okay,
like costume design or like set design. Both of those things were really great. Maybe not costume, just because like the only thing that was really like the flowers and stuff were unbelievable.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
I think that this is going to be just one of those movies that doesn't get any love at the end, but I mean, I'm very glad I saw it because I thought it was a really good movie, and it kind of falls into not like the big one for me last year with that was A Simple Favor, which was certainly an imperfect movie, but I wouldn't have been totally surprised if it got some love at the end of the year. My guess would be, as you said, probably nothing huge.
They gave out awards for best acting like you're tripping.
Oh yes,
because both Christian and Danny do a great job of having bad trips.
For sure.
Like Christian's bad trip when he's like at the table and he's just like, well, he's just got like the sort of like dopey look on his face and he doesn't know what's going on. And he like asks the dude next to him, like, what's happening?
And he's the only one that's not in the robes because he's because she now has become May Queen and that is a great scene. It's super weird with the fish, as you mentioned. I'm not going to go down this road, so let's only just drive by it. But is it like Hereditary? How does it compare to Hereditary? I'm not going to see it.
I think that Randy put it pretty well last episode, that it has more of a point and like an end goal than Hereditary.
Hereditary is creepy as hell, though, right?
Hereditary, there's ghosts and like possessions and like
it's more of a classic horror movie.
There's definitely like more horror elements in Hereditary, and like I guess an equal amount of horrific things that happen. Mm-hmm. Like if I were to like go through like the horrific events, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's there's Ant Head, and there's the husband on fire, and there's the lady when Toni Collette saws her own head off. It's probably equal amounts like violent, heavy things that happen. But Hereditary is presented more as a scary thing throughout the whole thing, even though it's not like a lot of like jump scares or anything. It's just like sort of creeping dread. But I think Hereditary is a lot creepier than.
I think it leaves you with a lot more questions too.
Hereditary, you definitely want to like go and like find out who this like King Payman is, because it's a real like thing and like sort of like mythology.
One of my favorite things about seeing films is that when we go to the theater, we see the previews, and the big one that I think we all came away with was it's a movie coming out called Ready or Not. It comes out next month. Just hearing of it now. So,
is it a Blumhouse movie?
Probably a humdinger. Let me.
I don't think it's Blumhouse.
I don't think it is, but it just sounds like it would be.
Oh yeah,
like Blumhouse presents or Blumhouse's Ready or Not. It stars someone who kind of looks like Margot Robbie, but
Samara Weaving.
Who's that?
She's
She's in
in
3 Billboards, but what does she do in that?
she's in 3 Billboards. She's the girlfriend. She's the ex-husband's girlfriend who works at like the horse place or whatever.
The zoo.
Oh man, the just like helpless one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's not. Is she? Who plays Woody Harrelson's wife?
Oh no. Oh, she could be Woody Harrelson's wife.
I think she's the girlfriend though.
I think she is too. I think
she's
that one
really
of these shots on her IMDb page is her in the car. I'm pretty sure.
She's really good at being a dork. She was also in The Babysitter, the Netflix horror movie. Have you guys seen that?
No, but that sounds great. Netflix horror movie? That's totally up my alley.
It's more of a comedy, but yeah, it's pretty fun. It's very light.
It is
for sure
not a Blumhouse movie. The production company is Fox Searchlight and distributed by Walt Disney Studios.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
fun.
Walt Disney's distributing that?
Family fun.
They're barely making any movies nowadays. Samara Weaving was also in MILF.
Is it Smilf or MILF?
Maybe it's MILF. I think it's MILF. Is that it? Yeah.
This Ready or Not is the description on IMDb is a bride's wedding night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. So basically she gets married and then they said, okay, now the last thing that you do on the wedding night, which you would think would be something else, is you got to play this game and it's just hide and seek. But they've got like guns and knives and everything. And it seems equal parts thrilling and totally stupid,
totally ridiculous,
which makes me think that hopefully it'll fall into that kind of would you rather area. This seems like a brunch movie.
Perfect brunch movie, absolutely perfect. Adam Brody is in it, which is very exciting to me. Adam Brody's making a big time comeback. He was in Shazam last year.
Oh, that's right. That's who that is.
Oh, he was like one of the Shazams.
Yeah, he was one of the extra Shazams.
Speaking of Shazam, you guys see the Shazam thing?
Yes.
I
question whether that's real or
it
not.
Is.
I don't know what you just said
too.
I just lost connection.
So a guy goes on Beat Shazam, the Beat Shazam thing.
Okay.
The show.
It's a game show with Jamie Foxx as the host. I was actually casting it. Real talk, didn't end up doing it. But he was a guy goes on this show. He wins at the end, and there's like a funny back and forth between he and Jamie Foxx, and it ends. And Jamie Foxx like roasts him because that's all Jamie Foxx says to people. Jamie Foxx seems like the meanest person in the world. And then it ends, and it says "in memory of," and it's a picture of that guy who had just won. He died before it aired.
Yeah, but you're missing the most important thing.
What
is that? His final guess of the song that won him the show was "How to Save a Life" by The
right,
Fray.
that was why. But that's not the big. That's not like the big thing.
Well,
that's
some
irony in it.
That's the big twist.
That's some irony in it. Yeah.
So,
but basically, you watch this light little thing, and you see like the How to Save a Life thing, and you can't think of it, and you're like, okay, funny, okay, classic burn, Jamie Foxx, cool. He died.
Oh man, I've got to go watch this now. I think I saw someone link to it, and they were like, "This is a Tim and Eric sketch come to life."
Oh no. Yeah, but Ready or Not, I think it'll be a perfect brunch movie. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah,
it's gonna be terrible.
Oh,
it is,
yeah.
But it is. I'll tell you, it is 95 minutes long, which is mwah. I love when movies are like, "We are shitty. Let's get in. Let's get out."
Yeah, I like more when the traditional, like your generic movie is this long. I love when it's under 90. Like if I get like 89. Yeah. Like what was Pop Star, I think is like 85 minutes long. They're like, we're not going to give you any more than we have to. This is going to be a really stupid movie, which it is, but it's positively elite.
Yeah, no, it's brilliantly fantastic. Yeah, I was telling you guys when you were asking me if I'd seen the previews for Ready or Not about a film called You're Next. Do you guys know about this film?
No.
You should watch it. That's actually a good brunch film too.
You're Next.
Yeah. Is it out right now?
Yeah, it should be available on some sort of streaming service at this point.
All right.
Okay,
Should we take a
we'll
blind recommendation?
We'll just make sure our stream doesn't hit the tree. If you know what I'm saying, Randy.
Nope. Oh, the ancestral tree. Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff. Love you, buddy.
Pee in the toilet.
Wait, before we go, you said after last week's episode that you had a theory about Father John Misty on Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, hit us.
Oh yeah, no, I think he probably would have auditioned for the Murray Bauman role. The role of
Yo,
Brett Gelman.
we've said that 1,000 times.
Oh yeah. Well, then I agree with you.
All right,
but it's my theory. You guys just stole it from me.
Hell of a theory. Also, you hung out with Judy Greer. We never talked about. You sent us a text message. It was a picture of you and Judy Greer just dancing and having the time of your lives. And I'll say, you get to do a lot of cool things, Randy. I truly love Stranger Things. It is a great show. Nothing means more to me than this is gonna sound. I'm like a weirdo, but like few things mean more to me than Judy Greer. You want to talk about standing? I probably stand her to death. I need calm down about Judy Greer pills. So knowing somebody who has met Judy Greer, that honestly, that is cooler to me than Stranger Things. That is, what was that like?
It was great. Judy and I have a few mutual friends. Oh,
by the way, what an asshole move by Randy sending us that picture and then being like, "Oh, we're at a mutual friend's wedding." Yeah, the mutual friend just fucking Sean Gunn. No big deal.
I mean, he's no Judy Greer, but
he's like Guy Judy Greer.
Tell us some stuff about Judy Greer so we can say that we've heard stuff about her.
She's great. She's great at dancing at weddings. She's great at giving wedding speeches.
She gave a speech?
She read someone else's speech at this wedding, and let me tell you, it was a glorious speech. It was very well written, but I was like, you know what, Judy really fucking hit all the high points on this speech too.
Oh man, that is such a good idea,
right?
To write a speech for a wedding and then be like, "Oh, but Judy Greer's at this wedding, so let's just let her do it."
Well,
exactly.
The guy couldn't make it to the wedding, but he did write a speech, and then he had Judy do it, and it was a speech about like how to keep your marriage happy as a man.
Oh hell yeah!
And the first thing is. Whenever your wife asks you something to affirm in the positive too, you say, "Yes, queen." And then whenever she asks you to a question that the answer is going to be no to, you go, "No, mommy." And anytime you introduce her, you have to introduce her in the Borat voice as my wife.
Hell yeah.
That is the number one rule of marriage.
Those are the secrets of marriage.
Do you think that we could get her to read our ads if she's just reading stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
What are the chances you think? We've definitely tried to book her for this podcast. What are the chances you think we could ever get Judy Greer? A couple of guys like us getting a gal like her.
Geez, I don't know.
She's so cool. Like I wouldn't want her to do this podcast because I feel like that brings her down. That she did brunch.
Yeah, we have no problem ruining your career, but Judy Greer is like too important.
What has Miles Teller been in since he was on Brunch?
That's true.
Legitimately.
Yeah, they were talking about him being in that Elvis movie. He's not Elvis.
Yo, they must have cheaped out on that Elvis thing, by the way.
Who the fuck even is the Elvis guy? Also, Miles Teller's in a show on Amazon right now that's really fucking bizarre.
Oh, it's not Miles, and it's not Ansel. What's his Ansel?
Elgort.
Ansel Elgort. I think I've heard that.
I don't even know who the fuck the guy is. I was like, who? I mean, also, I'm out of the loop. He probably has like 8 million Instagram followers.
But that's the classic thing of like, hey, where are you applying to college? You're like, oh, Harvard, MIT, Columbia. In the end, I decided to go to UMass.
Bunker Hill.
Right. And he's like, so were you really considering paying those guys, or were you just gonna? I mean, maybe this kid's great. I mean, the next 007 they just cast is also a relative unknown. I like the idea of doing that, giving a huge part to somebody that really is that's going to be kind of their first thing that everyone sees them in, because it can either go really well or horribly. Don't you think that Ansel Elgort would have been the perfect one, though? I think that he would have been better than
I'm not a big Ansel Elgort guy.
I'm a huge Ansel Elgort guy. I think I've only seen him in Baby Driver, but Baby Driver is so good.
You didn't see Billionaire Boys Club?
Oh, is he in that?
Yep.
Yeah.
With Kevin Spacey.
Are there jump scares?
Yeah, every time Kevin Spacey comes on screen.
There it is, Randy.
Oh, Randy, love you.
Thanks, buddy. Love ya.
Bye.